Hey, so this is going to be the realest video I've ever done and published on Instagram. And I think I got tired of only showing one side of my life. And I was asking myself, why do I even have Instagram if I'm not being fully myself? So here goes to being fully transparent, and maybe this is something that's gonna work out. Maybe it's gonna serve me and serve others. Me showing up genuinely and how I am authentically, and maybe not. I don't care, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So I have struggled with depression my whole life, pretty much my whole life. Mainly with depression, also with anxiety, and for the past 5 years, I've been on a healing journey, looking at everything out there that can heal my depression. So, depression was always like the main goal. Like, I have a problem, and the name is depression, and this is getting in the way of me having a healthy and happy life. So, how do I fix this problem? That was like the goal. And having not a good experience with traditional psychology, like with a psychoanalysis, I was very, very skeptical about going back to it. And like I had experienced it with when I was like 16 in a yeshiva. They had a psychologist there, and I felt like it was only making me um, just dwell in the trauma of my childhood over and over again, and there was no healing happening. So I became very skeptical about it, and I started becoming more interested in more like an alternative way, alternative medicine, looking more into the first into the subconscious mind through TAT, which ended up being life changing for me. Eventually, I started looking more into the somatic side, understanding that trauma lives in the body and I have to release it. But eventually, after 5 years of trying everything out there from the subconscious work to the somatic work, doing the inner child work, healing every single traumatic experience from my childhood. I had a pretty tough childhood for someone as sensitive as me. You know, we can't really compare. I know people had much worse childhoods than me, but we can't really compare. And my own childhood was, for me, it was tough. It was tough. I'm a very sensitive person, and I went through a lot of bullying at school, and I didn't really have the most present, emotionally present caregivers. Always, we were struggling a lot in my family, and I didn't have a safe space to express myself emotionally. So I ended up developing this depression, right? I ended up developing this adaptation of depression where I am not expressing myself, I'm not expressing my emotions because it's not safe to express my emotions. So, skipping forward to a month and a half ago, for once, I decided that it was time for me to be open to traditional medicine and to go to a psychiatrist and to get a diagnosis. Um, I'm very, very against all of this mental disorder diagnosis because I don't believe in mental disorders. I believe more in mental adaptations. And I believe we do have genes that may be um, together with an environment, with the right environment, they can get manifested. So we can have genes that we inherit from our parents that are genes that can cause depression, but we also need the right environment to trigger those. And it's like epigenetics, I believe that's what it's called. So it's not just the genetics, it's also environment. and I'm having a hard time keeping track of my thought. This is one of the things I struggle with, but I hope you can pay attention and listen to my story if you want to. Um, I got a diagnosis for generalized anxiety, and bipolar type 2 NOS, which is not otherwise specified. So it means that I don't really meet all of the criteria for bipolar, but I'm pretty close. So bipolar type 2, right, is um, basically going between depressed state and manic state, but I don't have manic state. I don't have the manic criteria to meet the bipolar diagnosis, but I do have the depressive side, and then I have like high energy. If you've seen me on Instagram, a lot of times I'm very high energy. I feel a lot of love, I feel a lot of light, and I'm so excited, and I dance so much. I can dance for hours, and I have so much energy that I'm just trying to find a way to channel, right, for the past few years. And then I have periods of time where I just disappear and I go into a depression of half a year, generally in the winter. And I don't know why I'm making this video. It's maybe because I'm tired of like not being able to show up authentically. And I think it's time for me to show up authentically. I've always wanted to do content and to talk about mental health, especially mental health for men, because I want to inspire men, and I wanna raise awareness about mental health, and maybe showing up authentically and showing how I live with depression and anxiety and whatever this diagnosis that I just received, which I also started to take medication for. Maybe by sharing, we can all help each other, inspire each other, and learn from each other, and maybe create a support system. Like, we all need a support system, especially if you're going through something like this. It's really important. So we need to be here for each other. So this is literally the most authentic I've ever felt doing a video, and I'm looking forward to sharing my experience with you and how I go from literally putting my main goal of healing my depression so that I can live my life, to how do I live with depression, because it's really, for as long as I have it, although I'm gonna have a goal to heal my depression, for as long as I have it, I need to learn how to live with it. So I need to make a goal of how to live with it, how to cope with it, how to be able to like sustain a job that I can so I can pay my bills, so I can have a roof over my head, which is really, 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 really not easy if you're struggling with depression. If you know it, you know it. How can I focus on my goals, on my projects, on the things I want to create, on my offerings, on what I want to offer to the world? How can I even dream of having a long-term relationship with while having depression? And I'm coming to this place where, after like 5 years of being the goal, how can I heal my depression? I'm taking that out of the first priority, and the first priority needs to be now, how can I live my life regardless of depression, while at the same time doing everything I can to minimize my depression and possibly heal my depression. I'm never gonna give up hope on that, but it's time I start doing the things. I can't wait until I've healed my depression until I start living my life, because it's been already a long time and I want to live my life today. So I want to make the most out of every single day. And also, I want to make the most out of the depressed days. Today, I am super depressed. Right now, I've come to such a depressed state that I was like, you know what? Let's start making content when you are depressed. I took a cold shower and I had a coffee right now, and I had some chocolate, and it gave me a little bit of help to come here and show up. Otherwise, I was literally laying in bed, like I couldn't move. Um, it's a very vulnerable topic for me to show up like this, and I appreciate the platform that I can come and show up. If you know someone that is going through something like this, they will probably not have the ability to ask for support if they're always saying, I don't have the energy to go for the social event or whatever. If you're inviting them, they're not coming over. Maybe you can go to their place. Maybe you can go and show up and show them some love, because they just really they barely have energy to get up from the bed and go to the bathroom. They barely have energy to wash the dishes. They barely have energy to clean themselves. So this is maybe a video to raise awareness after all. Maybe this is something for me also. I feel like I'm being able to show up like this, vulnerable and authentic, and it's making me feel really good about it. I'm actually feeling a little bit more expressive than depressed from when I started this video. I feel like I'm connecting more with my emotions just by talking about it. So this is already helping me, so I believe this is something that I will do. So thank you for listening, and I'm gonna continue sharing. Have a good day.